Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I want to go on a deep dive into my talent spec for level 60 PvP on my Frost Mage. Alright, yesterday I spent like 2 or 3 hours looking at every single talent point and where to put it for PvP in Phase 1 of World of Warcraft Classic. I talked to Zico a lot. Some of you guys probably know Zico. A lot of you guys probably know Zico, and theory crafting on exactly the talent points and exactly where we should be putting them. So without further ado, let's jump into it. If you guys want this talent spec, it's going to be down below in the description. And my AoE grinding spec is not this one. This one's for PvP. My AoE grinding spec will also be down in the description if you did want to copy that as well. And don't forget to subscribe. All right, let's jump into the video. So Frost first. Well, then we'll tackle Arcane. Okay. So 5 points in its improved Frostbolt. This is mainly a PvP spec, but I'm also going to do some raiding, and I really want to be able to do some okay damage. This spec, guys, can raid. It's going to be doing maybe 10% less DPS than if you went full PvE Frost spec. So keep that in mind. I am not going to be respecking. This is more of a PvP spec, duels, world PvP, 1v3 situation type spec. It's going to be really great for that. Maybe not quite as good for raiding, but still it's going to be able to hold your own. So improved Frostbolt, 100%, being able to shatter combo someone and supply a rank 1 Frostbolt at a 1-second cast time, so that when you're kiting a warrior, when you're kiting a rogue, when you're trying to get that rank 1 Frostbolt onto a hunter, you can do it really fast. Okay, so definitely want the 5 points in improved Frostbolt to get the Frostbolt to a really short cast time. Also, make your shadow combos into the Frostbite a little bit more reliable. When Frostbite procs, you have 5 seconds to get the Frostbolt Cone of Cold or the Frostbolt Fire Blast, but it takes like a global, then you need to cast it, maybe you have some knockback. You want Frostbolt to be as quick as you can. Elemental Precision. I have talked to a lot of different private server mages on Elemental Precision, and the tooltip is a bit confusing. It reduces the chance that your opponent can resist your Frost and Fire spells by 2%. This is how I understand hit to currently work in World of Warcraft Classic, and a lot of the top private server mages, Zico also was talking to me about this, and apparently this is how it works. This is essentially 2% spell hit, okay? 2% spell hit. You have a base 96% spell hit, okay? You can only get to 99% in PvP. You will always have a 1% chance to miss. This talent provides 2% of that. So the talent takes us from 96 to 98%, giving us a 2% chance to still miss. Now, I have Ban Thok's Sash from BRD, I do believe. He gives me an additional 1% chance to hit. That puts us to 99% chance to hit. That gives us hit cap for PvP. That's why I put 1 point into the talent. However, there's also a necklace that grants 1% hit. Netherwind Helm, I believe, that grants 1% hit. So if you guys already have your 3% hit that you need, taking you from 96 to 99 for PvP, then you do not need Elemental Precision at all, and you can just get 0 points into it, and I'll tell you where to put that this extra point in later. But since I only had 1% hit from my belt, I needed 2 more % hit, and Elemental Precision does give me that. So that puts us to 99%, and I will not be missing as many spells, okay? So that's how that works. A second point into it for PvP would essentially do nothing as far as I understand, and a third point would also do nothing. You only want 1 point. If you had no hit gear, you could maybe put 2 points in, but I'd recommend just putting 1 point in and then grabbing a piece of hit gear to increase your chance to hit with spells, okay? Like I said, later I might respec if I get 3% hit from my gear, taking us from 96 to 99, to just get 0 points in this, because I don't need the extra hit because I'm already capped with just my gear, and it's not actually going to do anything in PvP combat. However, for PvE, I think you want all 3 points because bosses and higher level mobs have a higher chance to resist. So if you're PvE, like I said, this is gonna be completely different. Maybe just watch a completely different video. This is for PvP. This is for all the stuff you guys see me do out in the world. This is the spec I'm going to be 1v2ing, 1v3ing, 1v4ing people with. So yeah, just keep that in mind. This is for PvP. So 1 point in there for now. I might change this eventually when I get the 3% hit. Moving on. Ice Shards. Need it. 5 points. 100% increased damage on Cone of Cold and on Frostbolt. I mean, all your Frost spells, but those are the 2 big ones that are going to be doing a ton of damage into the Frost Novas. Need it. We can just move on. No questions there. 3 points in Frostbite. I've seen some people take 2. I think 3 is really good. So when you're fighting, so Mage's hardest matchups in a 1v1 are Priest, Lock, and Druid. Everything else is a bit easier. Warrior, Rogue, Hunter, Shaman. Shamans and Hunters are kind of hard. Warrior, Rogue's a little bit easier. Frostbite is going to help you in every single matchup. It's going to help you in the melee matchup because they are going to hit you, hit that ice armor, going to get shield, going to get more Frostbites, going to be able to shatter more, helps you in 1v1s, 1v2s, etc. Frostbite for Priests is how you win the matchup, right? You cast Frostbolt, you get a Frostbite, now they have to spend a Global on Dispelling, or they get Shatter comboed with Frostbolt, Cone of Cold, and you one-shot them. The more your Frostbite is up, the better. 10% is way worse than 15 for this talent. I would definitely highly recommend going for 3 in Frostbite for PvP. Next, Improved Frost Nova. Need it because you need Shatter. 100% of the time you're doing 2 points in Improved Frost Nova for PvP. Permafrost. Now this is an interesting one. This actually, Cone of Cold is a 10-second cooldown, and without Permafrost, an 8-second slow. So, if you Cone of Cold someone, they're going to be slowed for 8 seconds, okay, with a 10-second cooldown. That means it is not up always. There's a 2-second period where it's not up. However, if you get Permafrost, you increase the duration of your chill effects by 3 seconds and the movement speed by an additional 10%. The movement speed by an additional 10% is nice, but the chill effects increased by 3 seconds is incredible. What does this mean? It means that your Cone of Cold lasts 11 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. Against Hunters, guys, you just keep up the Cone of Cold slow the whole duel. You blink in Cone of Cold, and you never let the Cone of Cold expire. Every time the slow from Cone of Cold is about to come off, you re-Cone of Cold. There's 60% slow the entire duel that can't escape. Very, very, very important here. Now, you could go 2 points in Permafrost instead of that 3rd point, and then your Cone of Cold slow will be a 10-second slow with a 10-second cooldown. The reason I do not opt for this is because if you're on a global cooldown or you mistime anything, they're going to get away for that 1 second, and then that slow is going to fall off. You're going to get kited, then you're going to lose the duel. So having that 1 second overlap is really nice. 11-second duration, 10-second cooldown. I think if you wanted to go 2 points in Permafrost, you could, but I would highly recommend 3 points in Permafrost so you do not overlap that, or so you have that slight overlap in duration for the Cone of Cold slow, 100% uptime. Cold Snap, 100% taking it. You need Cold Snap. Cold Snap Nova, Cold Snap to reset Nova and Cone of Cold, Cold Snap to reset Ice Block, Cold Snap to reset Ice Barrier, way too good to skip. Improved Blizzard. This is a big one. 1 point in Improved Blizzard means that the Blizzard slows the target, which means it can proc Frostbite, because it is a chill effect. That is very good in Battlegrounds. Why am I not Improved Blizzard? Because it's Phase 1 and there is no Battlegrounds. I was actually talking to Zico about this. There is no Battlegrounds in Phase 1, so you don't need to go Improved Blizzard until later, right? Later, I might grab more hit from my gear, drop the LE Precision, and put the point into Improved Blizzard for Battlegrounds when they are actually released in Phase 3. Or I could put it in the Frost Channeling, which I'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, that's why I'm not Improved Blizzard. For duels, that extra slow can help, but it's really for Battlegrounds to Blizzard an entire team, and you get a couple Frostbite procs around the entire team, and it, you know, really messes up that enemy offensive push. Very, 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 very good for Battlegrounds. Not as insane for duels. When a rogue vanishes, you can Blizzard them out anyway, getting that, you know, 15% chance on 1 tick on 1 rogue, maybe not quite as good as the Battlegrounds. So that's why I'm skipping Improved Blizzard for now, but like I said, I'll eventually put in a Improved Blizzard talent when Battlegrounds do come out. So this is more for 1v1s, World PvP, like I've been talking about. Piercing Ice. A lot of questions about Piercing Ice. A lot of people, why are you not going Piercing Ice? 2% damage up to 6% damage, so 2, 4, 6% damage increase on your frost abilities. That's a lot. Why am I not going it? I don't think that there's any... I would love to go 6% more damage. That'd be great. I don't think there's anything I would rather take my points out of to put into Piercing Ice, right? My Arcane, I need 17 points for Improved Counterspell. I'll go over that in a little bit. I have 34 points to spend in Frost. Which points would I take out? The LE Precision? Potentially, when I get more hit. Permafrost? No, none of these. And really none of these. I'll get to that in a little bit. The Frost Channeling would be the big one. Frost Channeling. Reason I have Frost Channeling. What are my hardest matchups? Like I talked about. Pop Quiz. Lock, Shadow Priest, Druid. Or Lock, Priest, any spec, and then Druid. Mana is very relevant in the Mage vs. Mage matchup, Mage vs. Priest matchup, and Mage vs. Lock matchup. Maybe not so much in the Mage vs. Druid. The mana cost on my Frost spells being reduced is reducing Ice Barrier, Frostbolt, Cone of Cold. It's going to make it so I don't go as quick, being able to 1v1 a lot more proficiently, being able to 1v2 in the world a lot better, being able to outlast your opponents based on mana. If you guys do a lot of dueling in Classic, you'll know that one of the #1 things is get your opponent to 0 mana, sheep them, Band-Aid, and eat back to full HP, and then kill them because they have no mana. That is a lot of Mage PvP in Classic WoW. This helps that. Super, super good for Classic strategy to keep up your mana as much as you can. So 10% mana, 10% mana versus 2%, then 4% damage for these 2 points. I think the Frost Channeling is going to give you more value in a dueling situation than an extra couple % damage on just your Frost spells, right? I do think that's the correct choice. However, if you wanted to do more damage and you get more hit, I would think it would be okay to drop the 2 points in Frost Channeling, drop the 1 in LE Precision, get the hit on your gear, put 3 to 3 in Piercing Ice, copy the rest of the spec, and it would be totally fine. I think this is a bit more safe. I think Piercing Ice would be a bit more just huge damage, right? So it depends on really what you want to do. For me, that safe bet and being able to outlast my opponents is more of my playstyle. And I guess some point that I haven't touched on so far in the video is I really do believe there's a lot of different specs you can go for Classic WoW. This is the spec that I want to go because of my playstyle, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's right for your playstyle. So that's why I'm explaining every single talent point and why I chose to pick it. So Shatter, 5 out of 5, you need it. This is the basis of Frost Mage, Shatter and Ice Shards, right? Frost Nova, Frostbolt, Cone of Cold, or Frostbolt Fire Blast, big Shatter damage. You just need Shatter, 5 out of 5, need Ice Shards, 5 out of 5, done deal. Arctic Reach, it's really hard to land Frost Novas and Cone of Colds without this talent. The extra range on Blizzard and Frostbolt helps. I wouldn't skip this talent. The extra radius, mainly on Cone of Cold and Frost Nova. If you don't have Arctic Reach, it's just going to be hard to land it, guys. In Vanilla WoW, you kind of just need this talent to make Cone of Cold and Frost Nova land more often, right? And even with the talent, sometimes it's hard to land them, but without the talent, it's you have to be, like, to Cone of Cold someone, you have to be, like, on top of them, wait a second, let the game register, and then it's just too slow, too clunky. You need this for fluid gameplay, right? Just 100% take it. Ice Block, 100% take. You're never skipping Ice Block. Improved Cone of Cold, 3 points. I wouldn't recommend doing less. You could do 2 points if you want, and it would only be 25% increased damage. One of your biggest ways to shatter combo as a mage is to Nova something with a counterspell, Frostbolt, Cone of Cold, and you can almost one-shot a lot of people that way. That's crazy. Improved Cone of Cold is just increasing your burst in that regard. Just good. I would recommend doing 3. If you really wanted 1 point somewhere else, you could drop the 10%. It would be 25% increased damage, but I would say 3. Winter's Chill, 0 points. In Battlegrounds later on, I think 1 point is very good. So for Battlegrounds later on, I'd probably move the LE Precision to improve Blizzard, and I'd maybe move 1 out of Frost Channeling into Winter's Chill to start applying debuffs to more people with the area of effect, so they have to dispel it, and it gives you a little like dispel protection for your sheep and stuff like that. I think 1 point is good for group PvP. If you're doing coordinated 3v3s out in the outside world, or coordinated group PvP, so Battlegrounds, Winter's Chill is phenomenal. Without coordinated PvP, Winter's Chill not necessary for duels. And it would probably help the Priest mashup, to be fair, but it's not going to be super, super, super effective in duels. So that's why I'm skipping out on the Winter's Chill talent. And Ice Barrier 100% of the time. That's literally why we're playing Frost, is Ice Barrier and Shatter combos and Ice Block. So that's every single point in the Frost tree. I don't think I'd move anything around. Like I said, I'll move the 1 point in LE Precision when I get more hit on my gear to 3 to 3 Frost Channeling until Battlegrounds come out, and then I'll move it to improve Blizzard. And that's really the one point I would switch around. I think if you want to do a lot more, like a little bit more damage with a bit less consistency, you could remove Frost Channeling and grab some Piercing Ice points as well if you wanted, and I think that's the only thing I'd really switch. Cool. I think we're good. We've covered everything there. This is the Arcane Tree. Now, this is very interesting. A lot of thought went into this. So, 2 points in Arcane Subtlety, just good. Reduces your target's resistance. You're going to get less resists. Poggers, get Arcane Subtlety. 3 points in Arcane Focus. Really, you only need 1 point in this. Because it's the same thing as that I already explained with Elite Precision. The 2% increased resist chance. You already have 1 from your gear. 1 point is fine. The reason I did 3 is just for world. Like, I'm sheeping a mob. I don't want it to resist. Because the only other alternative to get down to the next row would be Improved Missiles. And only 2 points in Improved Missiles. Like I said, you do want 1 in this. 2 points in Improved Missiles would do almost nothing anyway. So I'm just getting to the next row, essentially. If you wanted to put 2 points in missiles, you could, but, like I said, not really necessary. So 2, 3, good. Next row. 5 out of 5 Arcane Concentration, good, flat out. Pretty much every spec should take it. 10% chance to go Clear Casting. Clear Casting makes you keep your mana up a little bit higher. Just really, really, really good. When you get Clear Casting, you can either do an Arcane Missile because it's a high mana cost, high damage ability, or a Cone of Cold. Arcane Missiles or Cone of Cold are 2 your best with Clear Casting because you're getting it free anyway. Thumbs up. Yeah, nothing much else to say there. Really, 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 really poggers. Moving on to the next one. This is where it starts getting tricky. Wand Specialization. Probably a lot of people are like, why didn't you go Wand Specialization? My wand is hitting anywhere from like 100 to 150 right now. I actually have a slower wand, 1.9 speed. If my wand was quicker, it'd be hitting closer to like 80s or 90s. 25% increased damage from my wand is going to give me an extra like 40 to 60 damage on each wand. Or like 20 to 60 damage depending on the speed, I guess, of the wand. That's just not that much when we have life pools of 3,000. Like an extra 20 damage here or there. Just not the biggest deal. So I decided to skip Wand Specialization, skip out on an extra 20 damage here or there, and grab Magic Absorption. This is going to increase all of my resistances by 10, and whenever I fully resist a spell, I get 5% of my total mana back. 5% of my mana. That's like a couple hundred mana. That's sick, right? 1 second cooldown. This can keep happening. All right, if I'm dueling a mage and I resist, keep in mind I always have the 1% resist chance at least, and maybe more resist if I stack frost resistance on my gear. Like my wand has 10 frost resistance. If I get more frost resistance, I resist a spell. Boom, mana back, and a spell doesn't deal damage. Just insane swings for the spellcaster matchups. Like I said twice already in this video, the hardest matchups for mage are Lock, Druid, Shadow Priest. Super good to have more resistances for the caster matchups. Now, you're probably wondering, why didn't I go Magic Attunement then? I tested this out in a duel. The 50% dampen magic would really only be reducing like 5 damage to 10 damage off of each Arcane Explosion. It's like an extra 5 or 10 damage. Same thing with the wand. That extra 5 damage here or there doesn't seem to make it enough to put 2 points in here versus increasing all of my resistances and giving me more mana capacity. So that extra 5-10 damage from Magic Attunement, probably not worth it. Although, if I was only making a spec to fight like a Warlock, for example, I probably might include Magic Attunement. But yeah, Improved Arcane Explosion, not worth. You wouldn't want to take it. Arcane Resilience. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, why do you skip this, you idiot? This is so good. The reason I skipped it is because I only have 250 intellect. When I'm buffed, I have 282 intellect, which means I would get an extra 140 armor from this talent, which would then in turn give me essentially maybe 1 or 2% reduction in physical damage. 1 or 2%, I mean, for one talent isn't bad. The reason I skipped it is because mages own warriors already. They do pretty well against rogues, and they do pretty well against hunters, and they do okay against shamans. All of the melee classes in the game, mages inherently do pretty well against because you're a frost mage. You shouldn't be getting hit. You should be kiting. You should only be getting hit every once in a while, which means a 1 or 2% reduction on almost never being hit anyway is not a huge deal. Versus the point you would take it out of is the Magic Absorption, right? You'd go 4 to 5 here and then put 1 point in Arcane Resilience. reverses another 2 resistance and an extra 1% mana back. It just seems way, way, way better for the classes mages have trouble against, like the Lock and the Shadow Freeze and the Restoration and the Druids, right? So that's why I didn't put the 1 point in there. Just not that effective of a talent. Last 2, improved counterspell. Just a good talent, man. When you're in the Mage Mirror, you can improve counterspell and sheep someone and reset without a chance of them stopping it. Against Priest, you can lock out their Holy and then improve counterspell so they can't cast anything else. It's just so good, man. Just a 4-second blanket CS. Really, really, really good. And that's it. So 17 points into Arcane, 0 points into Fire, 34 points into Frost. Considerations, just to wrap up this video. I know it's been a long time, but like I said, it's going to be a deep dive, right? A lot of different thoughts and discussions I had about this for a very long time yesterday, talking about what I should go into. Considerations: Piercing Ice for a bit more damage, and drop Frost Channeling and Ellie Precision when you get more hits. Improve Blizzard and Winter's Chill for when Battlegrounds come out. And Arcane considerations: if you want to drop Magic Absorption, all 5 points and go into Wand Spec, Magic Attunement, and Arcane Resilience, you're going to have a slightly better matchup into Melee, and the Magic Attunement might help a little bit versus the casters, but I think overall, the extra mana and the resistances is going to be more bang for your bucks. That's what I decided to put 5 points into that instead. And you could move the Arcane Focus points into Missile if you want instead, but you at least want 1 point in Arcane Focus for sure, but everything else I would keep the same. So this is the basic 17-0-34 Deep Frost PvP Mage Spec for Classic WoW Phase 1. It's going to do okay in PvE. Like I said, you could probably squeeze out 10 or 15% more damage if you went a full PvE spec. But this is going to be okay in raids and very good in dueling and PvP. And I know a lot of people down below in the comments, hey Xaryu, are you going to go Palm Pyro? Are you going to be going different Vertney style Elementalist specs with Blast Wave and Ice Block? This is the spec I want to be playing for a while. I'm sure I'm going to be testing out a ton of other builds later on, but I think this spec to me gives me the best chance in World PvP to get some really cool clips, get some really cool montage style stuff, and eventually make like a Xaryu classic montage. This is the spec that I really think is going to give me the most potential to do that. I think with the Blast Wave spec, you don't get to get Ice Barrier. I think with the Palm spec, you don't get to get Ice Barrier. If you want to get Ice Barrier, I think the best thing to also get would be improved counterspells. This seems just like a really, really, really fun, versatile build for that. Guys, if you enjoyed this deep dive, let me know by giving the video a big thumbs up. If you did not enjoy this, definitely let me know by giving the video a big thumbs down. Maybe I went a little too in-depth on some of those topics, or just let me know down below in the comments if you like this style video where I'm really explaining every single talent choice, why I picked it, and why I think it'll be beneficial for PvP. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.